a solution within. Thank you for joining and being part of our big family, online family, and coming back to watch and coming back to learn something new. I know majority of you have traveled to any developing country, and every time you are in the Lord, what you are left wondering is, I'm just going for a 20-kilometer distance or 10-kilometer distance, but unfortunately, you are on a car traveling to wherever you are going, your destination, which is 10 to 20 kilometer, for 1 hour to 2 hours. And you are like, how is this possible? Well, let me tell you how it is possible. The possibility of something like that, it's just one, something called traffic jam. And traffic jam for developing country is not the same traffic jam we know in those developed country. In a developed country, roads are mainly for car and cars only. And even when the driver is just busy on the highway, all you need to check is on your right and left to make sure that the cars which are coming, you have considered them. Well, this is not the same way in this developing country, because first of all, no one follow the road safety, no one follow the road rule unless there is any police officer which is within that area. Once people pass this police officer for maybe 50 meters away, they just start misbehaving. So when you are driving, you don't have otherwise apart from to keep checking right, left, behind, everywhere. Actually, you have to be so much careful because there is a lot of people who are using road. First of all, pedestrians don't have somewhere to walk. Why? The area which was left for pedestrian to walk on has been transformed to be a market, somewhere people are selling good to these people who are passing on this road. So pedestrians have to come in the road and you will be fighting with them on the road. There is other people who are using wheelbarrows to transport some cargos. They don't have somewhere to go, they come on the road. There is those people who are using donkey cart, and some even have donkeys. They are still on the road, and remember, these all are people trying to make a living. So as much as you want to criticize them, they don't have somewhere else to go because the government have failed to provide something alternative for people, pedestrian to walk on. They have failed to provide something alternative for people who are transporting goods using wheelbarrow, for people who are transporting goods using cart, donkey, and donkey on itself. So they have no otherwise. And all those three people who I have mentioned on top, none of them have either reflector or light on the back. So let's say you're driving at the night. One thing I can tell you, you'll be sure of to be driving and all of a sudden something appear from nowhere. Why? Because there was a donkey which was putting cargoes on the road, in the middle of the road, in the middle of the night. And the worst thing is that donkey didn't had any reflector on it. So you just see something appearing from nowhere. That is a challenge. Then there is this motorized vehicle. There is motorbike, which are used to transport people from point A to point B in this developing country, and there is those motorbike which are used by people to transport themselves from point A to point B. Those one who are used by the owner to go maybe to work, to go to have fun, they are a bit okay, they follow a bit of a traffic rule. These other motorbike which are used to transport people from point A to point B, those one don't care. All they are looking for is a way of making as much money as possible at a shorter time. So as you are driving, remember, you'll be seeing motorbike coming from all direction. Let's say you are heading to west. see a motorbike which is coming on your left side and it's heading to east. Then when you think you have seen it all, you'll see another motorbike which is coming from east on your right side. So there is a possibility you'll find yourself every time you are sandwiched, you are in the middle of a road. You are somewhere where there is a motorbike on your right and motorbike on your left. Then there is those people who are cycling, and this one I pity them because you find you are competing with them on a road, and as they are cycling they don't have something distincting them from other road users. So when you are driving, you'll find all these kind of people, and you are in a traffic jam where there is other vehicle which most of the time are used to transport other people and to transport mass people. It's not a public transport, but we can call it public transport, but it's not owned by the government. Actually it's owned by people, but since that is the only option it's available, we call it a public transport. These are all kind of people you'll be meeting on the road, and with this kind of mix there is nothing else you can expect apart from that. Oh, sorry, I almost forgot. There is also a group of people who is a hawker standing in the middle of the road trying to sell you some goods. This is another group of people. This is also another group of people. When you are driving at a highway, going at a high rate, at high speed. Actually, for the first time when I was driving my car, I was like, I almost did one of them. You find someone, you are in the middle of a highway driving at 100 kilometers per hour, and someone is standing in the middle of the road trying to sell to you water, soda, maybe peanuts, something like that. They are selling, and they do sell. Well, it's majority of the people is their culture and they like it, but I don't know why government keep letting them to sell, because it's very dangerous. I know majority of people who, when they buy car, they don't see them. Only you see them when you are coming to a stop. Well, most of them, you find them, they're studying at maybe a pedestrian crossing or somewhere where there's a speed bump. But that one is not a solution, because there is those people who are at a high speed, they didn't know there is a speed bump or a pedestrian crossing. So that person, if the other car stops, and maybe it happened that the car this person is driving doesn't have that good emergency braking, you have no otherwise apart from to swing the car, and maybe he'll swing the car toward this person, and we'll end up having some death which was not necessary. But this is not something which should be bothering this government, developing government, because all this challenge we are going through is just because they want. There is one solution they would have, but no one want to use it, because every government which come in this developing country, all they want is to have the highway, which they can be telling the people, oh, we constructed that highway, we were the one constructed that highway. Highway are good, they open up the country, they open up everything, but the question is this: do we have all that resources to build this big highway so that we will not have a traffic jam? And that's not possible, because majority of the road in this developing country, it's a single lane. Majority of the road in this developed country is one way. Those are two different places. Even if people don't want to observe traffic rule and traffic guidance, they have no otherwise, because you are all going at the same direction. It's difficult to have a traffic jam in a dual carriage, or maybe in a one-way road, than to have a traffic jam in a single lane. All these governments should do, they don't have enough money to construct this big highway. Furthermore, when this country will develop, they will end up going back and destroying and destructing, demolishing all these road, because at that time they will realize the need of having green area. So we can do one simple thing. Majority of people who go to work to this big town in developing country, the farthest they come from is allowed 20 kilometer from a town, and majority of this country you find that it's not that hilly. It's just a normal hill, and even if it's very hilly, the government should be in a position to be able to reduce this hill by way of constructing. They should be able to construct and reduce the size of the hills. So instead of constructing this single lane for motorized vehicle, why can't we construct a single lane? And I'm not meaning this single lane where you find there is car coming from west and east. No, I'm meaning a single lane of a tarmac road going to town, and that will be enough. A 4-meter lane which will divide into two, and when we divide into two, we will have maybe we can even divide into 4 portion, 2 meter, then we add another 1 meter on the side and another 1 meter on the side. That one will be total of 6 meter. 1 meter will be for people walking to the town, which will be on the left side, and the 1 meter which will be on the right side will be for people walking back to home. The other 2 meter will be purely for people who are cycling to town and people who are cycling back to home after the work. That will be easily, and it can be achieved, because the issue is, even when you are in this traffic jam, you cannot stop seeing people who are walking by foot. You cannot stop seeing people who are cycling. And I have talked to many of these people in developing country. Yes, they take this private public partnership form of transport, but it's still costly, because during rush hour, when there is this traffic jam, there is no otherwise apart from these people to charge their people who are traveling in a bus at a very high rate. You find that during daytime you can pay $1, and during rush hour you are paying $3 to $4. So it hiked by 400 or 300%. That's crazy. But remember, these are middle income earner, or maybe even low income earner. If we can help them to construct these bicycle lane, will save them a lot. Because if I buy a bicycle, first, the initial capital I can find somewhere to take even a loan. It's not that much. Even for a low income earner, you can still have just a normal bicycle. Then maintenance of a bicycle is allowed $2 in majority of this country. $2 when it goes very high is about $5 per month. That is a maintenance. And you see this person is paying $5 per day as a mode of transport. If we can have $5 as a mode of transport, as a maintenance for that mode of transport, you see, first of all, these people will have something in their pocket. Second off, no one will be in traffic jam. Because right now I can tell you, there was a time I was in Nairobi, Kenya, and I was traveling from some place which was about 20 kilometers to go to Nairobi, Kenya. And it did took me 4 good hours on the road, and it's a distance of 20 kilometers. If that person was going or was using a bicycle to go to work, it would have taken him maximum of 45 minutes to make it to office. And you see, majority of people, when you meet them, those who work there, because I walked around asking people, when do you go to work, because this jam is very crazy. And everyone was telling me, if you wanna be in the office at maybe 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. in the morning, for those who are going at 8 a.m. in the morning to work, you have to wake up at 5 a.m. latest, so that you can prepare yourself for 30 minutes. Actually, if you're a woman, you have to wake for at 10:30 a.m. For 30 a.m. in the night, so that you can prepare yourself by latest 5:20, 5:15, you'll be out of the house to go to the work. This is a person who is going a distance of 20 kilometers. In developed country, for a person who will be spending 2 hours on the road, that one is a distance of 100 to 150 kilometers away. But since these people don't have money, why don't they construct bicycle lane? I asked aloud, and my answer which I get was that if a governor or any politician construct a bicycle lane, people don't see bicycle as a mode of transport. Everyone in this developing country have one issue: they just wanna be rich in a way they can afford to buy a car, and they be driving themselves to work. So if any government come in and construct a bicycle lane, where majority of people will not be happy with it. Why? Because this is not what they expected. They want that road to be constructed and the vehicle to be allowed to use it. Those people who drive in this country are treated and behave as if they are kind of a semi-god, because vehicles are very rare to find. Very few people own vehicle, so those who own vehicle, they believe any kind of a tarmac road, it's their way. And if you can walk around, you can see it for yourself. You find that there is somewhere which was constructed as a shoulder next to the road where people could be walking on. When there is a traffic jam, I can assure you, you find these people driving big vehicle, driving on it, even hooting to tell people to get out of the way because they are going through it. And it was constructed as a pedestrian walk. Pedestrians should go and walk on the glass or somewhere. I don't know what these people think. I don't know what bother them. But if the government can start changing and start educating people, I know this can be a solution, and this developing country can avoid to come back in future and start demolishing this huge mega highway which they will be constructing as a way of reducing jam, and at the end of the day they will be demolished to be nothing. That is my take for today. I know majority of you who have gone to develop country or live in the developing country can associate my saying and my suffering which I endured. It was too much, but well, I liked it because the reason I was there is to see and enjoy this challenge and to enjoy this culture of this country. But if you have an emergency, because I happened to find myself in the middle of a traffic jam with an ambulance which was stuck there for over an hour, I don't know whether that person made. If in that kind of scenario, stuck in a jam for those hours, if there is a kind of an emergency, where will they go? Let's say there is a fire which need to dispatch. There is police officer which need to pass by because they are going to solve a robbery or to stop a robbery or a murder. What will happen? That is a question majority of us we don't ask. That is a question majority of us in the road don't care about, because when they are driving they believe they are on top, and the government also don't seem to have even proper planning. You look at this government and you are left wondering, who advised these people? Who is the advisor? Like, how do they think? But maybe one day there will come someone who will be able to see things in a different way would change things. Thank you for sticking this out. If you like our channel, like, comment, subscribe, and don't feel ashamed. You can support us so that we can be able to go aloud and show you some challenge which have been faced by majority of country in construction industry. Thank you for joining. Bye.